Hello and welcome to this special edition of the Alternative Exit, live from the Employee Ownership Conference in Telford in the UK. And this has been brought to you by EOT Expert by Christian Wilson. So just imagine you've sold your business to an EOT and are now happily retired, spending your tax incentivized money when HMRC or the taxman knocks on your door to ask for the full repayment of your capital gains tax due on the sale. A trust, which is a huge pain. I mean, a trustee at your old company has just resigned and the team innocently but improperly accepted the resignation, inadvertently triggered a disqualifying event. This is a nightmare scenario. The truth is, running an EOT is not simple. From appointing trustees to managing the trust registers to keeping on top of all the annual one-off filings. One small mistake can be painfully expensive. This is where EOT Expert by Christian Wilson step in. His EOT Assured service keeps you compliant and confident with clear guidelines, templates and tailored support, whether you need a one-off transaction, support or ongoing retainer. Christian can even help you set up compliant bonus structures to ensure that your staff are getting the rewards that they deserve. So if you're looking to make a transition to an EOT or already established an employee ownership trust that wants peace of mind and proper governance, reach out to Christian at eotexpert.co.uk for technical expertise that's reassuringly human. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Alternative Exit, live from the EOA Conference here in Telford. Today, we've got a slightly different guest. Jonathan Winchester is the CEO of Insight6. Welcome.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Right, great to meet you. Jonathan actually keynoted last year in talking about the insights. But before we get into there, what does Insight6 do?
Well, we're a customer experience specialist, so we help businesses transform their customer experience.
Yeah.
And we do that 6 ways, which is around mystery shopping, inquiries into firms, how to handle those, listening to your employees and your clients through online feedback, focus groups, sitting down with people and talking to them and getting their feedback, customer journey mapping.
Yeah.
And that's where you look at a process, how can you improve that? And you get your teams to get involved with that so they own the process. And then mentoring and coaching and training. So
okay.
all those types of things.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, you do touch on a couple of elements that are obviously really important for the employee ownership conversation. And I mean, how do you bring that data into that, into that sort of employee experience?
Yeah, okay, interesting. So last year when I spoke, what we did, and people remember this because they can't see me this year, go, you bugger.
Yeah, well, a few people have mentioned it to me.
Yeah. We mystery shopped last year. We put inquiries into a lot of the firms in the audience, and just to see how well those inquiries were handled.
That's really cool. So just like on the contact us side on the webpage.
Yeah, out of hours, phone calls, or on the webpage, or ringing a director or mobile number from a website, or a whole plethora of ways you can contact a firm these days, you know? And yeah, I mean, like most audiences, it ain't very good. I mean, being honest about it. EOA business is probably better than most, to be honest.
Okay.
I did a big group of accountants last week, and nothing. I mean,
so the A/B test versus sort of EO versus non-EO.
Yeah, and EOA are probably 3 times better than accountants, you know. So they're good because they sort of love. There's a lot of love in EOA businesses, you know. So so we do that, and then the other side of what we do, and that creates some really good conversations around what that journey is like and how we make people feel. Yeah, which is what CX is all about. And then on top of that, we have insight systems. So we have a system called Instant Insight, which is a listening platform for your clients and your staff and your trustees, whoever it might be. Yeah. And then you can pull that data in, and then you can start interpreting the data to prove that you're listening and you're taking the right corrective actions to make the improvements required.
Okay. Wait, what do you find when you're consulting to people? What do you think is the toughest thing in helping them to turn this data and insights into action?
Yeah, I think getting them to listen actually is the big.
Really?
Yeah. So
even when the data's there, they still struggle?
Well, how do they get the data is the key. Yeah. So most organizations we go into, we say, let's talk about the teams, okay? Because they miss, with this client group, the EO business, that's crucial, right? Yeah. We say, how often do you listen to your team? And they go, yeah, we do. Okay, how do you do that? Oh, we do an annual survey. Okay, so the annual survey typically might be 30 or 40 questions. Yeah. Which, 50% of the team might fill out a bit begrudgingly. And then it might take them another 2 months for the board to sit down and go through that. And then probably nothing will happen. And that is quite typical. So they've ticked the box. We've done my survey. Yeah. Actually, and really, were the questions working? Well, is it really what you want to find out? Is it really identifying how people really feel? And are you taking them that forward? So, for example, yeah, we had a client, really good client, not an EO client, but an optician, independent optician.
Yep.
And they did a staff survey. And then we went in and we said, well, let's have a look at this staff survey. And it came up with one particular site that were really unhappy. So we said, okay, in that site now, you need to run a focus group with the team. What is it? Get under the skin, because the survey isn't going to give you under the skin.
Yeah.
So when we actually sat down with that team, what we found out was the unhappiness was around their tea room, actually. They had an old sofa, right? The coffee machine was out of date.
Yeah.
Often they don't have milk. It was basic stuff. But because they had followed through and taken more listening techniques, they actually got a good solution. So over the weekend, Jeremy, the CEO, he ripped it all out with his family, got a van, ripped it all apart, put it all back in. They came in on a Monday. It was all beautiful, new pictures, all repainted. And guess what? Satisfaction went up.
Through the roof.
Yeah, because they really, really listened.
Yeah.
They didn't just take the sort of headline. They really dug down deep. So what we find is that there are a few firms who really, really listen.
Yeah.
And often it's a boardroom exercise. Say, tick, we've done it. So first of all, having a system or a process that asks regularly.
Yep. Okay.
Right?
So cadence is important. Like annual is not enough.
It doesn't. Yeah. And annual's okay, but often it's very deep, and therefore it takes a long time and you're probably asking the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
But if you had something which is around net promoter score every 2 months, you're asking all your teams, how do you feel? 0 out of 10. How are you feeling? Good, bad, ugly? What is it?
Yeah.
And then why? You'll find out.
Yeah.
And then the team, and if then the why, well, I'm not very happy for this reason, or I'm really happy for this reason, you can either do more of the happy stuff, and you can action that. So in our system, you action it. And then people feel they've been listened to.
Yep.
And CX internally is all about the feeling. It's all about making your people feel special.
Well, that's human connection.
Exactly right.
And so to do that, so I'd like to drill into two things. You talked about like these most sort of employee net promoter scores are falling short. Right? They don't really sort of understand the people's sentiments, and they don't dive into that. And then the second part, I'd like to drill into a little bit more of how we make sure people understand that they're heard. I mean, you talked about sort of the focus groups as well. So if you could just sort of talk through those two things, that'd be great.
Yeah. So the first one was what?
The first one was the how sort of the traditional like employee net promoter scores and stuff are falling short in terms of asking the right questions to understand sentiment.
Okay, all right.
Now, I've also got to remember the second one.
Well, I didn't hear the first one.
Yeah.
So I think businesses decide they're going to put a survey together, and they'll go online and devise some questions.
Or ask ChatGPT to devise it for them.
And it's good, chat. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You can develop some brilliant survey, but is it what you need?
Yeah.
I can develop. I could say to you, here's a great team survey, but you've really got to get under the skin of the culture of the business and where that business is going. What is the vision of that business? How do we want people to behave? How do we want people to be rewarded? What does that look like? And then from that, you develop your question set. You don't do it the other way around. You don't start with a question set and then, so you get the process right and the outcome will take care of itself.
Okay.
It's like golf, yeah? You get the swing right, the ball will go in the right direction. You don't sort of try and get the ball without working on the swing. So it's exactly the same with surveys. So you need someone, and this is why our business does what we do. We've got 24 experts around the country, and they will go into typically one of our 500 clients, and they'll sit down and the client will say, we need to get closer to our team. Okay. And they'll start by saying, well, where are you going as an organization? Why do you want to get close to your team?
Yeah. What have you noticed?
Why? What's happened? Or we feel disengaged or whatever it is. Okay, fine. And from that point, you develop your question set, and then you ask for management group. So when you get this feedback, before we put it out, what are you going to do? What are you going to commit to doing with the feedback before we ask the question?
Yeah.
Because often people ask the question and then the management of that oh shit moment. Oh shit. What are we actually going to do with this?
Yeah.
And then that delays. And then the management group can't agree what they're going to do. That delays. And then the team are getting disenchanted and disengaged because they haven't been
no one's listening. Yeah.
So there's that. And then your second question was about listening.
Yeah.
So the first thing to do is communicate regularly. So first of all, if you're about to do some engagement surveys, tell them 3 or 4 weeks before you're going to do it. All right, we're going to do some engagement surveys. We really want you to participate. The reason why we're doing this is for these reasons. Remember the vision of the company, where the company is going. What's important is that we have your input into that and how we can make life better for everybody, how we can make everyone feel special. And so once we've done that, then the survey comes, we warn them it's coming, we get them to think about it, it comes, the survey comes. Now, you don't make it compulsory because the percentage of fulfillment is a key sign of the engagement of your team at the start.
Yeah.
Right. So if we go into a business and they get a 20% rate of people filling out the survey,
That
tells you something.
Yeah.
They're not that engaged. Okay, so we've got a different question to ask. Why aren't they? And then that might lead to focus groups or one-to-one listening group or whatever it might be. So there are different tools and techniques. Now, let's say you get a 60% take up of the survey and you get some good data. I think it's very important then for the management to see who hasn't filled it out.
Yeah, I was about to say, so where do you sit on sort of, because some people talk about anonymity being really, really important, create a safe space. But then how do you know who doesn't fill it out? So where do you sit on that?
Well, I think again, it is a measure of where the company is at around anonymity. Can't say it. Anonymity or
I
put my teeth back in first. And I think most organisations, we find they might start anonymous. But over a period of time, actually say, well, actually optional if you want to put your name in. You put it in optionally, and then actually just put your name in. And that is the journey, isn't it? That's the journey about people feeling happy to do it.
Safer.
Well, and if you don't do it, we're not going to kill you. It's fine. It's fine if you don't do it. But there might be a gentle conversation around why didn't you feel you could do it? And always people would say, well, I don't feel rewarded. I think it's wasting my time. Nothing ever happens. They would be the reasons why people generally don't fill it out.
To be honest, I just love that framing of the question. Like, instead of why didn't you do it? Why didn't you feel like you could do it?
Exactly.
That's such a great, subtle thing that when you think about sort of people making that transition towards that sort of EO leadership culture, like that's a big difference. Like they've come from a very much top-down, autocratic style. And it's a very, very nice little subtle touch.
It is about, CX is all about how people feel. It's not about what it's like. How did it make you feel, So, and then once so you get, let's say you get 60% fill it out, and some put their name in, some want to be anonymous, no problem at all. On some systems, like our systems, you'd still be able to see who didn't fill it out.
Okay.
But it depends how it's done.
An email list.
Maybe. If it's just a QR code, then you wouldn't know unless they put their name in. So the control of that is in the management group.
It's up to you.
And they can communicate that. They can say, which is honest and open and fair. And then we would look at that and we'd go, okay, well, what's the engagement rate like? I mean, you might ask which department they work in. So you might go, okay, well, let's
narrow it down.
Let's say there's 8 departments and this particular department, no one's filled out. Okay, there's an issue with leadership in that department. But something's going on.
All
right. So again, you can start drilling down and thinking about that. And then when you get the results, it's really, really important. You really quickly say, thanks. In a week, like Emma filling it out, 60% of you filled it out. Brilliant. This is our process now. We're going to have a meeting next week. We're going to look at these. We might come back with more questions. And then we're going to tell you what we're going to do. And the quick wins, just do them. As JFDI was talked about a lot today. Just do it. Just don't even have a discussion. If people say, well, actually, my desk isn't the right height or my chair's, I've got a bad back. Just sort it. Sort it. It is the instant wins that's going to build the trust. Right? Or people might say, I don't feel in my department, but we're recognised enough. Okay, Mr. Manager, Mrs. Manager, on Monday, you need to walk around your department saying, well done for people who deserve it. Or you need to just say, God, this is great.
It can be that simple, really.
That's all it is. Saying, well, the most powerful thing you can do to one of your team is to look them in the eye, smile and say, well done. It is nothing more than that. Better than a pay rise.
Better than the bonus that they're going to get with part of their EOT.
It increases loyalty. We know. Factually, it works. So we can instantly do things. So instantly do things that are going to make the quick wins, all right? And then you say, well, okay, in your feedback, we've got quick wins here and we're going to do these things. We've got middle wins and these things we're going to investigate. These are the things we're not going to do because either one, we haven't got the budgets, or two, we don't think it's that important, or, only 2 people mentioned it out of 500 or whatever it is. And you tick those things off. As you tick them off, you keep communicating back. We've done every month. Right, this is what you said. This is what we've done. Tick, tick, tick. And slowly people go, crap, this is a great tool. This is working. Next time you do the survey, 3 months down the line, you've been engaged. It will go up to 68%.
So what you're talking about there, though, that's a lot for a management team to be able to buy into, for a leader of these businesses. I mean, and for an owner, like to sit there and go, hey, look, I'm going to commit to doing all this work. I mean, when you're having these conversations with owners and talking to them, hey, look, this is a process we're going to follow so you can actually get that voice. Do they just sit there and sometimes they just get a little bit overwhelmed, just going, buddy, I just wanted to do a survey. I didn't want to go, I didn't sign up for all this.
Well, we only do it with businesses that do it properly. We're not going to damage our reputation by not doing it properly. Right? So we need leaders who want to do it and become engaged and realize that actually we can do the grunt work.
Yeah.
They don't have to do much. We just need to get their brain. We just need to get where they're going, what they're trying to achieve in life. We can do all the grunt work. We can do the survey. We got the system. We can do all of that stuff. And their commitment is around the action.
So this is a lot of people sort of they come to a point like they become aware that they need to do a survey. They might do a survey for some reason. They come to and that like by learning from lots of different places, and then they come and look at providers. They might look at you and some of those other sort of survey tools out there. But then you have this conversation with them, and you're going, yeah, a survey's not enough.
Yeah.
Right. You've got to take them back to sort of create more awareness in them. What are some of the sort of data points that you do, or what's the sort of process that you do to help them feel that they need to do more with this data than just capture it?
So I'll just go back a little bit on that. So one of the objections we get from firms is, we go to SurveyMonkey, we do our own surveys, and we say, well, who's written the questions? And it would be
Mary. Yeah,
exactly. Right. But Mary doesn't really understand what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So if you get the questions wrong, you've got the wrong data. If you've got the wrong data, you're making decisions based on the wrong data. If you make the wrong decision, it's going to cost you a lot of money. It's going to affect staff morale. You've got to get the first bit right. If you don't get the first bit right, you're damaging your brand. You're damaging your internal reputation. So the first things first is, that's great you're using SurveyMonkey. We can help you with that as well. Use SurveyMonkey if you want to, but for goodness sake, get some expertise around what are we asking and what we're trying to achieve. Or else you are completely wasting your time.
Yeah. And I think it's good that you draw out sort of that negative impact because there's nothing. I mean, it's almost worse. Like it's worse asking people questions and like they're the wrong questions or not doing, or that you don't do anything versus not asking them anything at all.
Exactly right. And then from the survey bit, you can filter down, as I said earlier, you could do focus groups. Yeah. So this department isn't very happy. Right, okay, Mr. Manager, CEO, I'm going to have a cup of tea with them all. And I'm going to do an informal focus group. What do you like about working here? What do you don't like? If you were me, what would you do? Simple question. If you were me,
I love that.
What would you do? And they say something like, well, you know what? I just like a place to park. Why is it all the directors have got the car bays?
Yeah. I've heard that from multiple EO companies while we're here. Like that's a really common.
Well, why? It's those sorts of things. Or you do one-to-one, and that might be, look, shall we go out for a coffee?
Yeah.
Talk to me. Totally in confidence. Just talk to me. And if they're managers, because if you're a CEO and you're doing this stuff, there's probably a management line in between. Yeah. Right. For a manager to understand you're going to do that, it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you make that person feel comfortable with doing it. And of course, we were upstairs earlier and they're talking about getting back on the floor and doing the job that your team doing. Absolutely crucial. Yeah. If you're not having a coffee with the people who are doing the real work,
how are you going to know? Yeah. I absolutely love that. This has been a great journey, right? I think in going through and understanding more about how important sort of getting the right data is to help you sort of build that amazing sort of employee experience. Now, before we go, I like to ask people 3 questions each time. So this could be a bit of a surprise, challenge for you. But
that's all right.
You've obviously been around this EO community, but who is the leader that you most admire in employee ownership?
There's a really good guy called Steve Webber of Rooflight.
Okay.
He's an EO business. And actually, after my talk, one of the first ones who came to us, and we went in and did some work with their team.
Yeah.
And, desperate to get customer first culture into the business.
Awesome.
We did some work. One of my team went in and did a workshop with them for a day talking about what CX is all about.
Yeah.
We had done following the mystery shop we did last year. We did a number of inquiries into his business, and then we fed that back to the team and said, this is what it looks like, and then workshop that through to what they're going to do. And I say that because, well, first of all, he's one of the first ones to do it. Right? And everyone will end up doing it because it's so important. Yeah.
Yep.
But also he was brave enough to say, let's do it on ourselves. And by the way, Insight6, you come and talk to the team. I might remove myself from it, but that's fine. That's a good way of doing it. And you can tell them a baby is not as good looking as you might think it sometimes is, which of course is the same. It's the same my business, everyone's business.
It's always better having an independent third party coming to do that as well.
Third party is the crucial bit, really. Yeah. And I think, and then actually spend a bit of time with Stephen just talking about the story, the legacy of a business that was set up 50, 60 years ago, and they do these fantastic roof lights and, how that all came about and how he came in as into the business as a sort of junior, and now he runs the business, and it's a great story.
Awesome.
And I see that everywhere around.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, isn't it? And I love this community because there is, I go to hundreds of conferences. I speak at hundreds of conferences. There's not an environment like this where you feel there's so much care in the air.
Yeah. Really cool.
And that's, so that's my number. Is that one question?
One question.
Oh, God.
Yeah, only 2 more to go. What's your favorite resource on employee ownership?
What do you mean?
Well, look, some people go to learn about employee ownership.
Oh, I see.
Go to the EOA, do that. Some people go when they're thinking about data and employee ownership. They might go to Rutgers to understand.
Yeah. I think from us as a provider of it, and don't get me wrong, we're a franchise organizer. I'm the owner of a franchise, so I'm a franchisor. I can't put EO into my franchise. It's not, but franchising is like EO because people are buying a part of a business and they're getting a return of their hard work. And, I loved it earlier. Someone says no knobs. I thought that was great. I thought that's really good.
It's a great rule of business.
It's a great rule of business. Yeah, that was really good. But it's about caring and working hard with the other two things that came out of that discussion earlier on. So I think really it's about just it goes back to caring. I think again, it's about. I just love the feeling of it, to be honest. It's hard.
And that comes from these conferences.
Yeah, and we don't do EO because we're not an EO, so it's difficult to answer. But I just feel there's an element of leaders want their people to be engaged and own. Yeah.
Well, this next question could be a little tough for you then, which is the last one. Is what would you say to an owner who's considering a transition, who's sitting on the fence about a transition to an employee-owned model?
Well, I can only talk about the data.
Yep.
Right. So what I would say is the data we have on EO businesses is that there is greater engagement and uptake of EOA, in this case, owners to do something than there is for a business outside of that environment.
Yeah.
Because their head is where they care.
Yeah.
So they're going to measure and they're going to do something and they're going to make good change. So I can only really see it from that angle. And then when you look at the data, so again, as I said, we did these accountants last week and we had mystery shopping and we presented it. EO businesses are way above, way better at dealing with inquiries. And they've done no work on it at this point last year when we told them how good or poor they were.
It was literally mystery.
And they were still all shocked, how it came across. But I tell you what, it's twice as good as most sectors we go into. And I think they're in the right place. They've got the right mental attitude and the right empathy, which is what's needed.
Absolutely.
So,
awesome.
It's good.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Jonathan. Where can people go if they want to learn more about Insight6 and follow your journey?
Insight6.com. Or can email me, Jonathan@insight6.com. And happy to chat.
Very cool. We'll have some links in the show notes as well. But thank you very much for joining us at the Alternative Exit.
Thanks, Andy.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.